Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. Let me know if you like it. I'm going to do some more stuff like this. If you are going through a breakup right now, go ahead and visit writemac.com, WRITEMAC.com. Send your story, and I can give you my take on that. Otherwise, have a good one. Texting after your first date, when to chase or back off, okay? If you are broken up at some point, start identifying that you're single. This is important. At some point, you got to, go, instead of telling your friends, like, I just broke up. Yeah, me and so-and-so broke up. Yeah, me and John broke up. Yeah, me and Kim broke up. Instead of, like, I'm single now. Well, I'm single and I'm ready to mingle, right? You might not be there yet, but you got to identify, I'm single. What comes with being single? There is a difference. People that are single generally, not always, like it eventually. There's a lot of perks to being able to do what you want when you want and not negotiate your weekends or your free time. People that are heartbroken are still seeing their ex or still seeing their ex. So heartbroken is one thing that you feel like you're a victim. You feel like what was done was wrong and you're just hurting. And that takes time. I get it. It takes time to heal a broken heart. But at some point, you're going to have to shed that snake skin and get into reality and realize that you are single. And like I said, I know that takes time. If you're still seeing your ex, but you guys are no longer official and you don't like that place, that gray area, then you also need to shed that snake skin and get into reality and go, I'm doing something I don't really want. This is serving my ex more than it's serving me. It's not fair to me. And I need to embrace being single. Hey, being single is good. It's a good thing. There's some benefits to it. Right? There's some benefits. And part of the reason you're uncomfortable with it, it's just been a long time since you've been single. Now, some people would tell me, well, I've been single for 2 years, or I've been single for 3 years, or I've been single for 4 years. I don't like it. I want someone now. What I would say to them is, well, let's take some inventory of who you've been over the last 2 or 3 years, right? What kind of person have you been? Recently, someone I was talking to was saying that they had an alcohol. They're like, well, I've been single for over 2 years. And I said, well, you mentioned earlier, this was a live coaching, that you were an alcoholic for 2 years, right? And you've overcome that, which is outstanding. I said, but if you're going to count the single years of when you were an alcoholic, and then I asked, how often do you drink? How often did you drink? She's like, honestly, every day for 2 years. Well, that's not highly attractive. And that's not a person that's going to attract a lot of long-term partners. And so recently she's been sober for, I think it might be 5 or 6 months. Something happened in her life and changed for the good, and she quit, and she's in a really good place mentally for that. And I said, now you're in a position where you are sober, which is important, and you're going to be in a place. Being single and sober is much different than being single and a full-time alcoholic. So if you've been single for a long time and you're really upset about that, let's just look at, and maybe in the beginning of that single journey, if you will, that first year or those first 6 months, you weren't in a very good place. You didn't have a good job, or you weren't standing well with your family. So where you're at in life with other parts of your life, professional life, spiritual, physical, exercise, different things like that, sometimes it takes a little while to start really good habits. And then that's when you'll meet someone. When other parts of your life are lined up, that's when you meet the best partners. Okay. So first dates, number 1, don't have high expectations. Don't have high expectations. So I talk about this a lot. Okay. And I'm gonna make it my model, the bad date model. What that means is, I've talked about this before, go on bad dates, have expectations. This could be a bad date, but fuck it, I'm gonna make the most of it. I got this from the writer Tim Ferriss, that basically says, write 2 pages of bad notes or stories or whatever. If you're a writer, write 2 pages every day, and with the expectation of having bad writing. That way you're not disappointed. You're just creating a habit. If you go on bad dates and you're like, oh, one day you're going to be surprised, right? Because let's be honest, if you went out on 10 dates, you're probably going to have 2 that you're like, wow, that was really cool. That was a really good connection. You're probably going to have 3 or 4 that are kind of mediocre, kind of, yeah, they were all right, but there was something missing there. It just didn't add up, or they were a little clingy. And then you're going to have 2 or 3 that are just train wrecks. We're the opposite. They really turned me off in a lot of ways. They had food in their teeth when they were talking, whatever. Right. So you still have to go, and let's just recap that. Let's say you met 10 friends, right? Let's say you had 10 friends, same kind of thing, right? If you just took on all the friends like you do on social media, like, oh, I'll just add a friend. No, I'm talking about real friends. Probably you meet 10 people at work, only 1 or 2 of them are going to be really, ride or die close friends where you're loyal and you guys hang out a lot because you just vibe. It's the same kind of dynamic. So number 2, first dates. Focus on good conversation and having fun. I said it before. It sounds simple, but I don't know a lot of people do it because people, especially men, I think, are so focused on making a good impression and maybe hooking up and making, snagging a long-term relationship. Look, be in the present, focus on having a good conversation and just having a good time, and that means being silly sometimes. I mean, in my live coaching sessions, it's not a date, but it is a connection. And what I focus on is having a good conversation, listening well, asking good questions, and at some point in the conversation, maybe having some fun. Maybe having a few times where we can be lighthearted. Number 3, listen to them. And if you don't like what you hear, just don't go on another date. So listening, sometimes you might be going, oh my God, they said, the one that always gets me is when people start every sentence with I, and it just becomes an I marathon of I did this, I'm this, I'm great, I'm wonderful, I'm sad, I'm angry. Everything's I. There's no real storyline. You can sit there and go, okay, or they speak like this, and then we went to go out, and then and you're listening, you go, okay, there is a finish line at the end of this date, and we just won't go out again. But at the same time, practice being able to be with an individual that's not your favorite person to talk to, and see if you can creatively open up paths to have better conversation with that individual. Make it a challenge so that you become a better listener and a better conversationalist. Number 4, don't worry about trust or if they are checking their phone to talk to another guy. I said guy because guys do this a lot. Trust takes way more than a first date. If you're on a first date and you're already like, yeah, she was on her phone a lot, I know she's talking to someone else, you're not in a good place to be dating. And you have some serious jealousy and self-confidence issues, and you got to nip that up, because it's one thing if the individual is out to dinner with you and they're just checking their phone, not dialed into the conversation, which a lot of people do now. I'm not one of those people. And if I'm around them, I just don't have a lot of time for them. But if they check their phone a few times and they smile and giggle, they have a right. They might be seeing someone else, right? And if what they're doing turns you off, don't go on another date with them. But it's not your place to go, oh my God, I know they were talking to someone else. Can't believe they did that to me. Now you're creating some victim mentality. Now you're creating jealousy, when you're just make a connection, make a decision at the end of the date. Would I want to go out with them again? Maybe, yes or no. If it's no, just cut anchor, dust, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I'm finished. It's curtains. Number 5, if you're nervous before your date, get some exercise and listen to some upbeat music. All right. A lot of people get nervous, right? They get awkward. Oh my God, what am I going to do? You go out for a run. Don't do what they did in Something About Mary, if you've seen that movie. Get some exercise. Do 20 push-ups. Go for a walk. Go for a run. Do something active to get your heartbeat accelerated, and then take a nice cold shower is a good one instead of a hot shower to kind of jolt your system. And then it'll probably relax you a little bit. Listen to your favorite music. Don't listen to hardcore heavy metal before you go out. This makes a difference in your mindset. Listen to some Al Green or some Marvin Gaye, some James Brown. I Feel Good. Shit like that. Listen to that kind of music before you go out. It puts you in a different mode. Your brain's like a computer, folks. You program it. Number 6, envision having a good date, not perfect. So instead of like, okay, what should I say? Okay, what should I do? Okay, if I do this, then don't fucking do that. You're overthinking things, and you're going to fuck up because of that. So just envision and when I say envision, you could just go, yeah, we're going to have a good time tonight. I remember I had to go back to school, I had a 1-month course to learn how to teach English as a foreign language. It was a very intensive course, right? A very intensive course. And one of the things I was nervous about was I haven't touched grammar in so long, right? It's like, fuck. I know how to write. I know grammar. but I don't know the tenses and present continuous. And there was a big test on this. But all I kept telling myself, I'm like, I'm going to pass. I always pass my test. It's okay. And it really got me through it. And like there was other people in the class that were literally biting their fingernails, going, oh my God, I don't know how to do this. They were studying every day. And I studied. I put in some time and everything like that. But when I got nervous or I got awkward about it, I'd be like, nope, I'm going to pass. I just know I am. I'm going to get it done. And if you go, I'm going to have a good date regardless tonight. And what I mean by that doesn't mean you're going to score a long-term relationship. It doesn't mean that you're going to even score that night, if you know what I mean. It means like, I'm going to have a good conversation. I'm going to have fun. And worst case scenario, I'm going to make a decision at the end of the night and say, yeah, that wasn't good, but I put my best foot forward, and we're going to have a good date next time, or I'm going to have a good date with the next person. That's just like a nice mindset to go in, instead of, I'm going to fuck this up. I always fuck this up. Don't say this. Don't do this. There's so much shit on the internet now. Everyone forgets, like, how about being you? How about leading with that? Number 7, don't over rehearse the date or worry about what you'll say. I know this goes on a lot because I get people to ask me this a lot. Just be you. Okay. Even if you're a beta and you're not masculine, you're not going to change that in a day. You're not going to get a tattoo, cut sleeves off your shirt, and all of a sudden be a badass. It's not going to, the woman will be like, what? This isn't your real style, right? You still got to be you. If you want to create more situations where you're a little bit more masculine, where you're more of a ladies' man, that'll happen over time and over practice by having more dates and digesting more of that material and putting it into action. But just, trying to make an overcompensation move where you get like, bad to the bone tattoo on your neck or something, it doesn't work. If you had a video camera on yourself, body language tells the most about people when they're authentic. I've studied this myself. I've noticed it about myself when I make videos. When you're saying something that doesn't resonate inside, sometimes you'll do this, or you'll take a deep breath, and people subconsciously, especially women who are more observant, notice it when you're being unauthentic. And actually what's really attractive is when you're a little bit vulnerable, or when you're willing to laugh at yourself. Okay, I'll get back to that later. Number 8, allow mistakes or mishaps to happen. So if you're going on a first date or any date, right, first couple dates, allow in your head, like, if there's traffic, all right, there's traffic. There's a reason I'm late today. If she doesn't believe me, it's fine. But there really was traffic. She's late or he's late 10, 15 minutes. It's the first date. Something may have came up. If you're understanding about them being late and don't make a big fucking issue out of it, because you don't know. It could be they're not normally late and something just happened. They could have been nervous and they were getting ready too long. Be a little loose and flexible about that. If you go out again and again and they're late every time, well, then they're telling you who they are. Okay. You spill a drink. I've done this. Laugh about it. Help the person at the cafe pick up the drink, and don't make a big fucking deal out of it. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. It's like, oh shit. I always do that. I'm a klutz sometimes. And you pick up the things, and just allow yourself to make a couple mistakes or mishaps, right? Number 9, this is really simple. First dates, ask good questions. When you're listening to someone intently, and I do this in live coaching sessions, and it's a skill, you actually ask questions pertaining to what people are talking about. Sounds simple in method. Not a lot of people do it, I don't think, in this day and age. Okay. Someone's talking about running a marathon, and that they've been doing 10K runs, and you go, oh, really? You've been running 10K runs? You actually repeat back to them some of the words or phrases that they said and put it into a question narrative and dig a little deeper about what they're talking about. And they feel like you fucking care, because you do. And sometimes, some of the topics I'm like, I'm not that interested, but you know what? Let me see if I can get a little deeper and become more interested with a good question. Number 10, leave some mystery about your feelings. Be neutral. Be stoic. Stoic's one of my favorite words, but fun. Stoic means showing no pain or pleasure. I'd add in be flexible and fun. Corey Wayne talks about this. This is dating 101 for men mostly. Leave some mystery about your feelings. End the date on a note where you're happy with things, but you're not overly like, when can I see you again? This was the greatest date I've ever had in my life. That's not attractive, right? Number 11, make them laugh once. Silly stuff works. Stuff like that is like an icebreaker. It's like, What do you mean? You go, hey, can you do this? They're like, what? Oh yeah. If someone's like, oh, that's stupid. But things like that that are silly, fun, kid-like, they break up the date. They calm fucking things down a little bit. I've done that as an icebreaker. If a friend was on here right now that was a college roommate, he'd start dying. Because he used to always see me at the bar and I'd be talking to a girl or something like that, and then I'd do this. And immediately it would be like, how do you do that? How? And it creates also this thing where you're showing someone how to do something. It's kind of funny. So not everyone in the world is going to use that as their pickup thing, but I'm just giving you an example. If there's something funny or you have a magic trick or you have something to bring up, make them laugh once. Okay. And when I say, I shouldn't say make them, do something that's fun or funny. Do an impression of someone. But if your conversation is serious throughout the date, that's not a good place to be. And so what I just did was silly, right? It's a bit silly, but at the same time, silly's funny sometimes. And it just shakes things up. Because if you're not naturally funny and you try to be funny, it could be a fucking train wreck, right? You can work on humor.